My work tends to make people who are neurodiverse more present, but it makes people who aren't more broad. So I suppose it creates tangents in people who struggle with sending their thoughts broadly, but people whose minds naturally go off on into tangents, it brings them back to sort of the centre, I suppose. I think it comes down to art's important, but it's not as important as your well-being. I used to get too excited by making work, and then I'd just keep making. Nowadays I don't really acknowledge it as much. I notice when something's good or bad, but I don't get excited about the work. I just sort of carry on, and then I get a sense of something's working, but yeah, I think excitement's overrated, really. Like, the middle ground is a lot harder to find, but once you find it, it's a lot more enjoyable in consistent terms. Just trying to moderate my practice has been the hardest. I think my art's become less important to me, so it's become better. I'm accessing my creativity nowadays rather than trying to be creative. So I just usually constantly try and make different types of work and different projects, and I came back to this Martin Creed's video of there's like two sighthounds, and it's funny. He was saying I was thinking and then I wasn't thinking. It's one of the best things I've ever seen, I think. I think you can be really serious about your work but have a laugh about it at the same time. I found at art school it was all about who had the most impenetrable stare and the most consistent front. Sort of gave a sense that you were a better artist. Agnes Martin's big thing, wasn't it? Her work's amazing. The process is completely different. Her words will make sentimentality art and beauty a mystery of life, and I don't know, she's a clever lady. I want to make something exceptional, but I want it to feel quite familiar and quite normal. Brian Eno's music for airports, it's exceptional, but it's in the background. I like the idea that my work's in the background, but you can go and engage with it if you want to. Because I don't like overconfident work and bravado, and I think we value confidence far too much to our own detriment. I think people are more interested in the way that you say something rather than the substance of what you say. Like at the moment, everything's on impulse and how that impulse makes you feel, rather than doing something that has longevity and more benefit in a balanced way over a longer period of time. Because I think people just want that dopamine hit nowadays, don't they? But that's not going to last, and you're going to have a crash from it. Almost like how my coffee's wearing off now. I think I drank a bit. So yeah, big part of the work is trying to drink the right amount of coffee. But it's nice to have a bit of a vice, isn't it? No. In order to find balance, you kind of need to know chaos. And I used to go to festivals and think I was enjoying it and being chaotic. I just don't understand that idea of like having a really good time anymore. I don't find partying any fun anymore. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I'm fortunate that I've been in mentally chaotic places because it allows me to enjoy balance. And I think a lot of people's lives are so numb nowadays that their way of feeling alive is to go and experience chaos. But I'd much rather enjoy balance. Yeah, quick fixes are always, they're not the way for me really. Yeah, it's finding the balance between being in control and out of control at the same time. I think you can be both. I think it links with the dialogue between craft and art that everyone goes on a lot about. I think that discussion is sort of an individual thing, so the dialogue between the two is different to each person, but it's still quite a helpful dialogue. So I suppose the art for me was the act of making a lot of really bad work, pushing the diversity of the ideas, and then the craft is the execution. I have a sense of outcome, but it's almost like when I'm making a grid, I want the line to be in control and out of control at the same time. It's the contrast between the weave and the grid. So the pleasure is not being there when weaving, but the critical bit is trying to enter a state between thinking and not thinking in order to create composition. I think I have too much of a desire to control things in the evening because I'm thinking more, and it's that space in between thinking and not thinking. It's almost like the idea of letting the hand do the work. It's like when I used to play football, my dad used to say, let the ball do the work. Recently, I've been making more controlled grids. It's done by tensing your arm a bit more, and then the lines are more mechanical, and they look less done by a hand and have more tangents of sound waves and oceans, I think. But then if I let the hand go looser and there's more impurity in the line, it creates tangents of landscape. So I'm creating a grid and then I'm weaving. This is harder than the drawing. I've done the repetition line so many times that it's quite easy. It's the contrast between the weave and the grid. The pleasure is not being there when weaving, but the critical bit is trying to enter a state between thinking and not thinking. I'm quite a big snooker fan, and I quite like darts, and I find that it seems like when a darts player or a snooker player are in the zone, they're in that space in between thinking and not thinking, and when they make a good shot, like or a throw or a shot, and if it's good, they have to not get excited in order to make another good shot. So a lot of the time, maybe you're controlling your ego really. So you're not rewarding something interesting, you're trying to constantly and yeah, there's also that space in between confidence and not confidence, because if you're not confident about it at all, you're not going to make anything. But if you're overconfident, you're probably going to be satisfied with something quite average. I used to call them ploughing or phasing. If I read too much academic stuff, it's quite like bad for the work. Yeah, academics scare me slightly. I like having a laugh about things that you take really seriously. I think that's why I called it nonchalantly, like I make lines, because I know how much I put into the work, and to say something nonchalant like I make lines is sort of a distracting method that allows you to get on with the work without being too sentimental about it.